Is that working?
Yeah. Great.
And then when you finish?
Thank you, everyone. I think I'll get us started. Members of the public are advised that the meeting will be live streamed and recorded, and the live stream recording will be made publicly available on YouTube and Council's website. I'd like to start off with an acknowledgement of country. Nillumbik Shire Council respectfully acknowledges the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people as the traditional owners of the country on which Nillumbik is located, and we value the significance of the Wurundjeri people's history as essential to the unique character of the Shire. We pay tribute to all First Nations people living in Nillumbik, give respect to elders past, present and future, and extend that respect to all First Nations people. We respect the enduring strength of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung and acknowledge the ongoing impacts of past trauma and injustices from European invasion, massacres and genocide committed against First Nations people. We acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people hold a deep and ongoing connection to this place. We value the distinctive place of our First Nations people in both Nillumbik and Australia's identity, from their cultural heritage and care of the land and waterways, to their ongoing contributions in many fields, including academia, agriculture, art, economics, law, sport, and politics. And I'd now like to hand over to Councillor Duffy to read the Good Governance Pledge.
Thank you, Mayor. As councillors, we are mindful of our civic responsibilities and obligations. We pledge to take them seriously and to carry them out with diligence and integrity. We know the decisions we take will affect the people and environment of Nillumbik, now and into the future. We undertake, therefore, to make sound and principled decisions of lasting value in the spirit of fairness and for the good of all. We also pledge to serve the needs and well-being of the community and the environment in an open and honest manner and to the best of our abilities.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. I'll now introduce Oliver Crispin, who from the age of 17 has been on a journey putting his trust in his God. As he has done this, he has experienced what the Bible says in James chapter 4, verse 8, "Draw near to God and he will draw to you." Oliver's journey of faith has taken him around the world to places like Bangkok, Doha, Manila, and Monrovia. Through this, he also met and married his wife, who's from Romania, and they are now raising their 4 children here in Nillumbik. Oliver currently serves as a church leader at the Vine Baptist Church. For several years in their church in Eltham found it difficult to fit everyone into the building. And so as a church in 2018, they decided to start a campus in Hurstbridge at the Hub. And Oliver has enjoyed encouraging and journeying with his community of faith for the past 5 years, and is looking forward to what is to come as they continue to put their trust in God. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you very much for having me. And it's a pleasure to open the council meeting in prayer this evening. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for your goodness to us. And Lord, I want to look to you as I pray and seek to bless and encourage and build up the people here this evening. Lord, I thank you for each councillor. You know their lives, their challenges, their families, and you know the pressures that they face. Lord, I thank you for this. And Father, I pray for them. Because it's very easy to sit from the outside and to critique, to give opinion. But Lord, I thank you for each of them, how they're seeking to be diligent in what they're doing, to bring clarity and to really bring about purpose and intentionality in the life of our Shire. Lord, I ask that you would give them wisdom and love as they do this, especially in the challenging moments, Lord. Thank you for the good times and the times that are more straightforward, but there are always difficult waters to navigate when you're in leadership. And so I ask, Father, that they would grow in their knowledge, in their understanding, in how to lead well and to serve the community. I pray especially for their families and their home fronts, Lord, because it is in that place, Lord, of the family that there's often the effects felt of leadership. So I ask that you would enable them just to support their families and their families to support them in the task that they have chosen to take up at this time. Lord, we commit the meeting this evening to you, and there's much to discuss, much to make decisions about, and perhaps lots of feeling and thought in different minds and hearts, both in the councillors and in the community. And Lord, it takes great wisdom to know the way forward when there's lots of obstacles. So we ask, Father, that that there would be wisdom applied, that you would enable each person to listen well and to navigate well forward in the various things that are coming forth. Thank you, Father, for your goodness and faithfulness to us. Amen.
Thank you, Oliver. We'll move on to the next item, which is apologies. We have two apologies from tonight from Councillor Eyre and Councillor Stockman, and I'll look for a motion.
Happy
Councillor
to
Payne.
move the motion that Council notes the apology of Richard Stockman and Councillor Francis Eyre be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor Payne and Councillor Egan. All those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. The next item is presentations, and we have one presentation tonight. So Councillor Duffy will be presenting that to Miley Navuni from Swipers Gully Ward, who receives $200 as a contribution for being selected to represent Victoria at the Under-14s Youth Girls Rugby State Cup. Nelmbik Shire Council wishes Miley every success in their future sporting pursuits, and I believe Councillor Duffy has a few words to say as well.
Thank you, Miley. I'm really excited to have you here in council. This is your council, and you might one day want to put your hand forward to be part of the Nillumbik Youth Council. But for the community, I think we'd all love to know about the extraordinary things that you're doing. So Miley, as the Mayor said, lives in Swipers Gully Ward, and normally it would be your councillor Francis Eyre that would be presenting this. I'm doing this on her behalf and the behalf of council in her absence. Miley receives $200 as a contribution for being selected to represent Victoria at the Under-14 Youth Girls Rugby State Cup. Congratulations, Miley. Miley is a dedicated rugby player who has been playing at Eltham Rugby Club since she was 5 years old. She was selected for the Victorian Under-14s rugby team last year, and through the support of the Eltham Rugby Club fundraising, she was able to travel to Canberra, where her team went undefeated, winning the tournament. Miley was also selected for a rugby girls gold program, where she spent 6 weeks training at Amy Park, which provided access to the Melbourne Rebels facilities and trainers. We wish you, Miley, all the very best for your future in your sporting pursuits and in life. I'd like to present you with this certificate of recognition. Here you go. Well done. Would you like to say a few words, Miley?
Yes, please. Sorry, just gonna get that.
I'll hold that for you.
Thank you. I'm so thankful for the support that will be put towards the National Girls Rugby Tournament, where I'll be playing for Victoria. I also hope this encourages other girls to keep on chasing their sporting career and dreams, and to let them know that their community is here to support them.
Thank you, Miley. Well done.
Thank you, Miley, and congratulations. We'll just get a photo there. Congratulations again to Miley. The next item is confirmation of minutes. So I will look for a motion to confirm the minutes. Councillor Perkins.
Thank you. I move that Council confirms the minutes of the Council meeting held Tuesday 26th of April 2023 as per attachment 1.
Thank you, Councillor Perkins. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Duffy.
Happy to second that.
I will put that one to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. The next item is disclosure of conflicts of interest. Are there any conflicts of interest, councillors? No conflicts of interest. We have one petition, which is a request for council to provide a footpath at Rockcliffe Street in Eltham. And we have a recommendation to receive the petition, so I'll look for a mover. Councillor
Happy
Payne.
to move the motion as per the papers.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Perkins. Councillor Payne.
Just wanted to let the petitioners from Rockcliffe Street know that we do accept the petition and that the request for a footpath is now in the council system. And that's it.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. Councillor Perkins. Any other councillors? We do run a fair prioritisation process, so whenever one of these is requested, we always weigh it up against many criteria and make sure that the budget's allocated fairly. So glad to know it's in the system, but it will be subject to a fair assessment process moving forwards. So I'll put that one to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. The next item is questions from the gallery, and we have two questions from David Smith. And David, you're here with us tonight. Welcome. Question 1. In Plenty, most of the roads are narrow with steep embankments and don't have footpaths. Worse yet, many of the most trafficked roads run east to west and are hilly, which severely impacts visibility due to sun glare on vehicle windscreens during the times when the roads are most busy, during the morning and evening peak periods. For example, River Avenue and Memorial Drive. It is high time that a comprehensive development plan be made for Blue Lake Ward, areas of the Shire of Nillumbik, now that major construction and upgrade works have been completed in Diamond Creek, Eltham and surrounding wards. In the interest of pedestrian safety, encouraging zero climate impact and healthy transportation options, I would like to hear from Council how many metres of new footpaths have the Shire of Nillumbik constructed in Plenty during the financial year of 22 to 23. So that's the question from David, and the response is: the footpath program is developed and delivered on an as-needs basis Shire-wide, which accounts for missing links, access to public transport and amenities, and improvement to the pedestrian network, having regard to the neighbourhood character. In the 22-23 financial year, no projects were completed as part of the Footpath New programme in the township of Plenty, and this is considered aligned with neighbourhood character, terrain and geometry of the area. So that's a response to your first question, David. And question 2. When will a comprehensive development blueprint be made for Plenty, Yarrambat and Apollo Parkways so that residents can have a clear vision of how the area will be developed over the next 20 years? So that's David's second question, and the response is: state planning policy requires local government to respond to settlement in a manner that facilitates sustainable growth and development whilst respecting neighbourhood character. Growth is to be directed through a hierarchy of centres that offer convenient access to jobs, services, infrastructure and community facilities. For Nillumbik Shire, the major activity centres of Eltham and Diamond Creek are identified as the centres to support the majority of growth for the Shire, providing the best access to transport, services and employment. They will continue to be the focus of community life, providing a wide range of shopping and professional services and places to meet and recreate, in addition to an increased role in providing for a diversity of housing, and in particular medium density housing. With regard to the hierarchy of centres, Plenty, Yarrambat, Apollo Parkways and Greensborough are not identified in the planning scheme as activity centres, nor is there strategic evidence to support them as activity centres that would require commensurate structure planning or similar to support a change to the role of these townships within Nillumbik. Accordingly, these townships are identified as areas containing a mix of residential and rural residential communities. The Nillumbik Planning Scheme identifies these areas as capable of accommodating some residential growth on land zoned for residential purposes. And so that is the second response to David. They're all the questions that we have tonight. And so we will move on to the advisory committee reports, and I will look for a motion. Councillor Duffy.
I'm happy to move that. Just reading. Oh, is that all we've got?
Just to read the motion.
Yeah, so the recommendation is that council notes the minutes of the advisory committee meetings reported in attachment 1.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Egan. Councillor Duffy.
Thank you. Just briefly, noting tonight's meeting, the minutes from the advisory committees are tabled in the report so people can read them for the meetings that were held in February, March, April and May. The Environment and Sustainability Committee continued to do good work, and I particularly point out the Urban Tree Canopy working group that works in that group and the work that they do. The Inclusion and Access Committee came together, and they were looking at the Changing Places facility that's being built at Alistair Knox Park, which is going to be the first of its kind in Nillumbik. Also, the Living and Learning group met, and importantly, close to my heart, the Youth Council. And one thing, if you're not already aware, but for the community, the Youth Council meeting saw the new incoming Youth Council meet and go through the process of electing their youth mayor and deputy mayor. There were 5 members who gave inspiring speeches in their nominations. So we were in great hands with the young people who are representing the community. And Kira Imbriano and Oriana Edmonds were elected as the youth mayor and the youth deputy mayor respectively, which can be seen in the minutes. So I'd just like to encourage the members of the community to get involved in council. Our advisory committees are a great way that you can have a say in helping to make change. So please keep an eye out for the various advisory committees that we've got, and put your hands forward, put your name forward when the opportunity comes up if there's an area that you're interested in. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Councillor Egan? No. Any other councillors? I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. We'll move on to officers' report, and the first report is the committee report, consideration of submissions on the draft budget 23 to 24. So I will look for a mover. Councillor Payne.
Happy to move the motion as per the papers.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Payne.
Just wanted to reassure those who came to council speaking to the draft budget and advocating for all the different causes that they were advocating for, that it has been noted, taken on board, and we thank them for their submissions.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. Councillor Duffy.
Yes, thank you. I'd just briefly like to stay the same, where I'd like to thank the members of the community who did provide their feedback into the draft budget. It was a mix of individuals and community groups. From the examples here of the community groups include the Diamond Valley Basketball Association, the Nillumbik Climate Action Team, Hones Road Playhouse, the Eltham Community Action Group, the SES Nillumbik Unit, the Eltham District Historical Society, and the Friends of Apollo Parkways and Lacrosse Club. All of these groups were able to express a range of views and put sound rationale for why they were wanting council to consider the positions that they were putting forward. One of the things that I would really like to see council do in the future is look to go out to the community well ahead of our budget to include the community in the process of formulating our budget, as some other councils do. But more about that later at an appropriate time.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Any other councillors? I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. And now we move on to the larger one, which is the adoption of the budget 23 to 24, declaration of rates and charges, and council plan, annual action plan 23 to 24. So I will look for another motion.
Yes, Mayor Antran, I am happy to move the motion as per the papers.
Yes, it's a very long one, this one. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Egan. Councillor Payne.
I don't have much to add to this. I understand that we're all facing increased interest rates and pressures, but Council has come up with a responsible decision to come up with an appropriate rates model, and I support our financial officers and those who have come up with this model for keeping Nillumbik a working council into the future.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. Councillor Egan.
Nothing much to really add to what Councillor Payne has said, except that it might sound a lot of money to us mere mortals, but that's a very, very tiny budget in the scheme of things, especially around Melbourne. We are unique. We are not like other councils, and we have a very small budget. And I think what staff have come up with is tried to give a little bit out of each basket or bucket to all the groups that matter. And of course, this week we'll see some slashing and some cuts in our budget, so I'm hoping that's not going to affect us too much, but we're just going to have to deal with it if it does. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Egan. Any other councillors? Councillor Duffy.
Thank you. I would like to echo what's been said, but just to also add that, you know, our general rates, we've got $62,510,000 in what we collect as rates, and then $14,000 in service charges. There's also additional money that we receive through federal and state grants. I had the opportunity to speak to some councillors from other councils across the country in the last few days, and there's 2 councils in Sydney, one in the Greater West, the Blacktown Council. Their budget is $780 million a year. Sydney City Council, their budget is $560 million a year. So when you compare what those councils are able to do with the for the residents in their area, it's a massive amount of money in compared to our $62 million. So officers are very diligent in the way that they spend money. As councillors, we try to make sure that we are doing the right thing with rate money, being aware that many of us are ratepayers too, so we feel the increases. But on page 9 of the papers, I'd just like to let the community have a look at the pie graph where it shows where out of every $100 of rates, where your money goes. And, you know, I'm very proud of the things that I see happening around the Shire each day, whether it's, you know, the footpath that's happening in Eltham North across the road from the Eltham North Primary School, or whether it's the traffic saving measures that are happening on Ryan Roads to make getting to school easier for kids that are going to Glen Catherine Primary School, which is out of our Shire, but, you know, people live in our Shire that have kids that go to school there, and it's right on the border, so it is a safety concern. So we are looking at how we can spend money appropriately and sustainably so that we are solvent and, you know, making good decisions on behalf of the council and the community that live here. So that's all I'd like to say about the budget.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Councillor Perkins, do you wish to speak? I'll speak briefly on this as well. Look, Council has put a lot of work into putting our budget together. I'm proud to say that we have managed to make the budget work within the rate cap as set by the state government this year. And so the rates will go up, which is a standard across the board for councils in Victoria. They're all going to go up the same amount, and we've been able to fit that into our budget and cover all the services that we need to deliver to our community, which I think is a really positive thing. Just to note some of the more exciting things that are coming out of this budget that I think we can all be really proud of. We're all very excited to be getting a youth hub here in Nillumbik. Part of that is state government funding, but there's also money within this budget to support a youth worker to work in that youth hub and provide some really much needed services to the youth of Nillumbik. So I'm very excited to announce that is part of the budget that we're passing today. Additional resourcing to support the implementation of placemaking across the Shire, where the community can actually get involved and help to create and activate places in Nillumbik in collaboration with council, and we've got a bucket of money for them to pull resources from. We'll be pushing ahead with our heritage amendment to protect Nillumbik's heritage. developing a housing strategy to make sure that everybody in Nillumbik can have a place to live. We'll be beginning Phase B of the Diamond Creek Community Facilities Master Plan, as well as completing the Wattle Glen Urban Design Framework. We also have funding to continue to implement annual actions in the Climate Action Plan, including turning Edendale Farm into a community climate action hub, which is a really exciting project that I know a lot of people have put a lot of work into. We're developing a roadmap regarding environmentally sustainable development and implementing that into our planning scheme to make sure that all new development and all new properties being built in the Shire are built to high standards from an environmental perspective, solar panels, insulation, electric cookers and heating, etc. And the one that I'm most excited about is money allocated to expand our environmental volunteering programs. I have so many residents emailing me, making phone calls, begging for opportunities to do some planting or some weeding or collect some litter. And there's so much potential in our community. When you provide money to resource our volunteers, it just goes so much further. And it's so exciting that we have money in this budget to support those volunteer programs and get more environmental volunteering happening in Nillumbik, because there are so many people who want to do it. And this year we're going to give them the opportunity. Well, thank you, everyone. That's exactly 3 minutes. Good timing. I will now put that one to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. The next item, once I've scrolled through the very, very long report, the next item is the Council Plan Quarterly Performance Report for 22 to 23, and I will look for a mover. Councillor Perkins.
Thank you. I'll move that Council receives and notes the Council Plan Quarterly Performance Report as per attachment 1 for the third quarter of 2022-2023.
Thank you, Councillor Perkins. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Perkins.
Look, the report's is there, Council. Most matters are on track or complete. I don't see any necessarily that are yet to commence, but just like to congratulate Carl and the staff on again successfully implementing the council plan, and it's all looking good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Perkins. Councillor Duffy.
Thank you. For those that are at home and those that are here in the gallery, just to go through, our council plan is a 4-year plan of the things that we'd like to do with the money that we've got. And with our council plan, we've divided that into 4 areas: community and connection, place and space, sustainability and resilient, and responsible and accountable. And as Councillor Perkins mentioned, things are very much on track with the council plan, but there are a couple of actions that I'd just like to highlight that officers have been working hard to achieve. Firstly, the Reconciliation Action Plan. This has been out with the community for comment so that we can put together a Reconciliation Action Plan as our next formal step in our reconciliation journey. One of the things I'd just like to highlight about why this is jumping out at me particularly is that this month we, as council, celebrate the 25-year anniversary of the reconciliation journey starting in Nillumbik. In 1998, the council of the day had an advisory committee that looked at how can Nillumbik put forward commitments of recognition and apology and ongoing work towards reconciliation with First Nations people. And 25 years later, there's a lot of actions that have been taken place. So this Sunday, there's a community event that council has been working with the Nillumbik Reconciliation Action Group to put on for the community. In terms of other things in the quarterly report, there's the alcohol prevention grant. The youth strategy is continuing, and the Mayor mentioned the grant to see the youth hub become a reality over this next period. The biodiversity strategy is something that a lot of people keep saying is very important, wanting to protect our wildlife and our nature. And so having money set aside in the budget to be able to do this is a fabulous thing. In particular, when it comes to sports clubs, we know that they're often the heart and soul of our community as well, and the Eltham Football Club's All Ability program has been continued to be supported by council. And the economic development strategy, often, people might see it critical of council with whether we support our local businesses enough. Council works very hard in this way. We have a team of people that are working diligently to put programs together and to work with our traders to bring tourism in and to bring business in and to encourage people to shop in our shire. But one of the things that I think is a standout is the Women in Business networking event that our officers put on for women to particularly help those that are small business owners and those who have got businesses that they operate from home. So again, I'd just like to reiterate the gratitude to council staff for the work that they're doing to help us to achieve the council plan that as councillors we've committed to deliver for the Shire.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Good timing. Any other councillors? I'll put that one to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. The next item is the 2023 Annual Community Survey results, and I will look for a mover. Councillor Duffy.
Thank you. The Annual Community Survey results, the recommendation is that Council 1 receives and notes the results of the 2023 Annual Community Survey, which is in Attachment 1, and makes the report's findings available to the public on Council's website.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Perkins. Councillor Duffy.
Thank you. Getting community feedback is really important and council officers work hard to do this. The surveys have been ongoing for a few years now. There have been difficulties in the past with surveys being conducted over the phone, and returning to face-to-face interviews after 2 years has been a fabulous way to be able to get the feedback from the community. Great for the people doing the job, and I think more meaningful for the people who are being asked their opinion on how satisfied they are with council's overall performance. I will leave the report for people to go through, but interesting to note that this is the 12th annual community survey that we've run. There are just over 500 people who are randomly selected from the community to give their views. And in terms of what are the top 5 most important issues in Nillumbik, the respondents in the survey have indicated, firstly, traffic management; second, roads maintenance and repairs; third, council rates; fourth, parks, gardens and open space; and fifth, rubbish and waste. So I will leave that for the community to go through the community survey and contact councillors or council staff if they've got any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Councillor Perkins.
Yeah, certainly like to support the motion. Always look forward to seeing the annual community survey results. There has been improvements in terms of satisfaction broadly with council by community, which is good to see. It's a very comprehensive report. It's tracking stuff over the last decade now in terms of community perceptions of what council does, and areas that need more work. And I think the report's really important because it does help guide council on areas that need a bit more focus. It's broken down, year upon year to various areas of the Shire, male, female, age groups. It's a wealth of information that no doubt officers and councils will use over the next 12 months to help plan for areas that need addressing. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Perkins. Any other councillors? I'll put that one to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. The next item is the Inclusion and Access Advisory Committee 2023 membership endorsement, and I will look for a mover. Councillor Perkins.
Yeah, thank you. So the recommendation or the motion will be that council endorses the 14 recommended applicants listed for appointment to the 23 to 25 Inclusion and Access Advisory Committee as per Attachment 2, as an inclusion for the Access Advisory Committee members, so council's aware those applicants. Number 2, notes report recommendation is to maintain membership of 14. Applicant 12, rank 15, is therefore unsuccessful on this occasion. 3, acknowledges and thanks all community members and local agencies who have submitted expressions of interest to the Inclusion and Access Advisory Committee. 4, resolves that the panel recommendations the scoring as per attachment 2 to remain confidential on the grounds specified in their definition of confidential information in section 3(1)(f) of Local Government Act 2020. 5, resolves that the successful applicants be named. And 6, endorses the updated terms of reference as per attachment 1 for the Inclusion and Access Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Councillor Perkins. I will look for a seconder. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Perkins.
Just like to thank all those people who have applied to join the Inclusion Access Advisory Committee. I've been chairing the committee for the last 12 months or perhaps 2 years now, and it's certainly a very, very good committee. People on it are very, very keen and give all to this committee. It's also a great opportunity for me and others to learn about how we can do more in this space. Just like to thank everyone who's applied. Like to thank those who have served in the last committee and are moving on, and also thank those that haven't made it onto the committee this time, but hopefully you'll apply in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Perkins. Councillor Duffy.
Thank you. I joined Councillor Perkins on the committee at the end last November as the Deputy Chair, and this committee does great work. I think the thing that's important is that when we're making our decisions at Council, we need to be able to have perspectives from many different angles, and the Inclusion and Access Advisory Committee does do that. It certainly helps to ensure that people with a disability or another reason for inclusion are considered in the things that we do and the way Council operates. I think everyone would believe that equality is important. Equality doesn't mean just everybody having the same thing. I suppose equity is what we're looking for in life, and equity means that everybody's able to achieve the same outcomes. So things could be different for people based on their ability to be mobile, their ability to hear, to see, health impacts that they have. So through the Inclusion and Access Advisory Committee, we're really trying to make sure that living in Nillumbik is inclusive and it's equitable as much as Council's able to assist in that. So I, again, thank the work of the people in the panel, in this advisory committee, and encourage people to get involved where they can to make a difference in community through Council.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Any other councillors? I'll put that one to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously, and Councillor Perkins will now name the successful applicants.
Thank you. I'll just run through the list here. Neville Coots, Gina Lloyd-Thomas, Rhonda Bain, James Lindra, Melanie Keeley, Deanna Worrell, Carol Lee, Sue King, Sylvana Skibler, Nicole Coxford, Aisling McCabe, Mel Spencer, Aaron Williams, and Helen Ryan.
Thank you, Councillor Perkins. The next item is the review of the Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee Terms of Reference, and I will look for a motion.
Thank you, Mayor Amtran. Happy to move the motion that Council thanks and acknowledges the 5 outgoing members of the Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee 2021 to 23 for their advice and contribution to Council's work to represent the diverse views, ideas and needs of the community. 2, endorses the revised Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee Terms of Reference 2023 to 2025 as per attachment 1. 3, endorses the recruitment process for the Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee 2023-2025 to commence on 29th of May and conclude on June 23rd, 2023. And 4, instructs officers to report nomination to the Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee to Council for endorsement in August 2023.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. I will look for a seconder. Councillor Egan. Councillor Payne.
Just to let people know that, yes, we have 5 outgoing members. Their term expires in June. We will be going to the community looking for those who would like to join the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee. We do thank the 5 outgoing members, and we're looking for enthusiastic people to give a diverse range of views within the community. I will point out that there is a dedicated position within the committee to be reserved for a First Nations artist, curator or producer or creative. So we're actively looking to make that as diverse as possible. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. You only took 4 seconds. Councillor Egan. Any other councillors? I'll put that one to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. The next item is the review of the Performing Arts Policy, Purpose and Needs, and I will look for a motion. Councillor Payne.
Thank you, Mayor Rancher. Yes, I'd like to move the motion as per the papers.
Thank you, Councillor Payne, and thank you, Councillor Egan. Councillor Payne.
Yes, I can make this even quicker. Basically, the Performing Arts Policy was seen as separate to the Arts and Culture Policy. It is not. We're absorbing it into our ongoing Arts and Culture Policy, and that is the reason for this motion. Heareth endeth my speech.
Thank you, Councillor Payne, but that was 9 seconds. Councillor Egan. Any other councillors? All right, I will put that one to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. And the next item is the informal meetings of councillors' records. I will look for a motion. Councillor Egan?
Yes, might be last, but it's the best. I'd like to put a motion forward, a recommendation that Council, in accordance with item 19 of Council's Governance Rule, Meeting Procedure, receives the informal meetings of councillors' records, attachment 1 for the meetings held.
Thank you, Councillor Egan, the most riveting one. I'll look for a seconder. Councillor Payne. Councillor Egan.
It is riveting when you're in the meetings. This is just a record of all and when councillors and staff get together in particular numbers so that we know who's who in the zoo and we're complying with all the regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Egan. Councillor Payne.
I'm in total agreement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. 0 seconds. Any other councillors? I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? And that is carried unanimously. That is the end of our officers' reports. We have no notices of motion, no delegates' reports.
Mayor, can I just quickly do a delegates' report? Just
of
very
course. Councillor Perkins.
Look, and it's only that I attended the MOV State, which is the Municipal Association of Victoria State Council, last Friday as a council delegate. All the motions that council put up were very well supported from State Council, so that was good news for Nillumbik. And one other thing is on Sunday it was, I attended the official opening of the Plenty Fire Brigade, which I was very happy to go to. So they moved into their new premises. Council were very, very involved in that building because it ended up going on to what was council land, and they purchased the land off council. Then council got the old fire station property back, and CFA had to demolish that building. I hadn't actually realised it had been done. It had been done about around Christmas time, so it's public open space now, and no doubt there'll be some plans that will come to light the next 6 months or 12 months to look at what's going to happen on that former fire station site. But yeah, look, great occasion. Lots of very, very happy and proud CFA members there at the Plenty Fire Station opens on Sunday. And I think in my time on council, that's probably one of the better outcomes that I've seen in terms of council involvement. It's a really great thing for the community. And there were some struggles with it, in terms of purchasing the land, but also the planning approval process. But I think definitely the right outcome was achieved, and it was great to be a part of a council that supported that project. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Perkins. Two wonderful delegates' reports there. All right, I'm going to assume there are no more delegates' reports, so I'll move us on to supplementary and urgent business. There is none. We have no confidential reports, and so I close the meeting at 7:45. Thank you, everyone.